Last bit of today, officially done with the route. Let's go. I'm out of work. It is 4:11, 4:10, something like that, and we're stopping at the bank real quick. It is Friday. It is payday. Very nice. Sheesh. I'm not trying to flex, guys. This is dead ass my rent money. I try to make it a priority that every Friday I take out a set amount of money just to kind of stay responsible with my like money, or like with my bills. I'm into the whole finance world and budgeting and stuff like that. I like to learn. I just try to do that to, you know, stay as on top of the money I got throughout the month, which honestly, to be real, I suck at that so bad. I'm gonna stop by AutoZone to see if they have the tool we need in order to work on the Civic. In the last video, I did the upper ball joints with the upper control arms. This one, we're gonna be working on the lower ball joints. This car is so slow. Well, it's not like slow, but it's not fast. But it's fun to drive. Currently, I'm driving the Mercedes, and I guess while I'm on the topic of the Mercedes, just a little update on it. I still want to sell this car. I'm just working on the little things that I want to fix before I sell it, because I want to sell this car in the best condition I can possibly sell it in. Arrived. Hopefully they have the tool. Haha, they have it. For those of you guys that do not know, I'm pretty sure a majority of the people do. Oh, you guys hear that little the actuators, they do a little thing where they just kind of jump up and down, and it's like a common issue on these cars, but it's so expensive to buy the actuator. So I don't know if I'm gonna fix that, but just one of the issues. But for those of you guys that do not know, AutoZone has what they call it, like the free loaner tool or whatever, which it's not free. You technically have to buy the tool up front. Any of you guys that need a specific tool, but it's not a common tool that you need, just pick it up at AutoZone, pay for it, and then you can return it later on. We'll get home and we'll try it out. It's my first time removing ball joints, so hopefully it's a lot easier than I expect, but I have a feeling that it's not gonna be that easy. A little bit of doggo duty before we get started on the Civic. My patio thingy, have a mess everywhere. Very hard to try to keep this area clean. We got our knuckle. Now this is the knuckle that I was able to remove completely from the car without the outer tie rod and the upper control arm. This is what we're going to be working on. This is our lower ball joint, and as you can tell, it's all beat up and stuff. So we want to replace this, pop it out, and install a brand new one. I'm gonna try my best to explain everything that you have to do. After about like an hour and a half of just struggling with the first ball joint, finally got it on. This thing actually looks a lot more rustier now. That it's probably just because I was working on it, but it's starting to develop a lot of surface rust, maybe because I was using it. One thing I highly recommend is getting yourself a snap ring plier. I ended up messing this up and mine wasn't opening up wide enough. Highly recommend getting yourself a snap ring pliers. It'll make the job a lot easier. Let's work on the second one. I went ahead and removed the upper control arm. I just went ahead and whacked it off. I went ahead and took off our brake shield. We're gonna go ahead and take out this outer ring, because when you're taking out the ball joint, it's gonna make contact with this. So there we go. Take that off, put it to the side. Let's go ahead and remove our snap ring. These little tabs, we're gonna go ahead and use our snap ring, put it into the little holes, and you'll just be able to slide it off. I didn't realize it was barely 7, so I ended up going to AutoZone, picking up a new plier set. I had 20 bucks, like on AutoZone points and stuff like that, so I ended up getting this thing for like 3 bucks, so that was nice. And I am now a believer that tools should be kept as simple as possible. This one, it comes with 2 separate snap pliers, and one of them is you squeeze it, it opens, and the other one is when you squeeze it, it closes. So 2 separate ones. Hopefully this one is a lot better quality. Snap ring is now off. Even with the new pliers, I mean, this thing is still a pain in the butt to take off, so just work it however you can. It makes it easier to cut up the ball joint, or like the rubber around the ball joint, so that it could be a lot more slimmer. You can go ahead and add some WD-40 so that, you know, add some lubricant so it could be a lot easier to pop off. But all we're gonna do is go ahead and whack it until this thing comes off. There we go, she's out. Get it nice and clean so that we can put in our new ball joint. We can go ahead and just place the ball joint there. We start working with a ball joint press set. There's a bunch of ways you can do this or use this tool. At the end of the day, you pretty much just figure out the best way to push this thing in with whatever you got. You want to be on the ring on the outside when pressing in. You don't want to just press in through the middle, because I'm pretty sure there's like grease inside of these things, so you don't want to puncture it and, you know, end up messing up your brand new ball joint. So this is how I set up the tool. I went ahead and I basically just used, I mean, whatever you call this portion of it, onto the ball joint. And over here I used one of these cylinder type things, be an opening so that the ball joint can just press in through. And this is one of the little tools that it gives you. It also adds additional area for the ball joint to continue going through it. I don't know if I'm explaining it right, but this is basically how I set it up. Over here, tighten it until the ball joint gets pressed in all the way. And you basically want to go all the way until you can't turn the thing anymore. That's when you know the ball joint is pressed in or seated in properly. Okay, and go ahead and loosen it off, remove it, and then basically check to see if the ball joint is completely seated. Fucking finally, bro. That took a lot longer than expected. Ball joint is officially installed on both our knuckles. I mean, that's basically it. All I gotta do is throw this back onto the vehicle and we can put the car back on the ground. I almost forgot about this little, I don't even know what this is, but we'll go ahead and clean up right here. You set this onto there, and I guess you get just anything that will sit on the outer rim of that thing, and you just tap it back into place, and then that's it. A couple days later, we're gonna go ahead and install the knuckles back onto the vehicle. But last video I spoke wrong, so right now I was doing research before I installed the knuckle back onto the vehicle, and the angle for the upper control arms, I guess it doesn't even really matter. According to Honda, the torque specs for the bushing bolt, I think it's like 20 Newton meters of torque. At that point, the bolts are basically tight, and all you needed to do is just kind of like be able to move a little bit. So I'm not too sure. I haven't really got a good answer, but the coilover is also going to keep it from, like, you know, going up and down completely and hitting the, you know, the tower, the strut tower. So I don't know. I haven't got a good answer, a good definitive answer, but I'm just gonna go ahead and tighten them up, and it should be somewhat okay. And then eventually I'm gonna get an alignment, so it should be fine. So I don't know. I can't give you guys an answer on that. If you guys have any info, comment down below. What do you guys think I should do? But let's go ahead and install the knuckles back onto the Civic. I already went ahead and installed the other knuckle on the other side just to make sure everything's okay. So this, I'm gonna go ahead and tighten it around right there. Honestly, it doesn't really matter because it's gonna just have some slack with turning. So I guess just tighten those as best as you can while it still has a little bit of movement. And the coilover is pretty much gonna keep it from hitting up there. The ball joints, they came with a little emblem to put on them, so we'll go ahead and install that right there. Also, before installing the entire knuckle, I'm gonna go ahead and take this off so I could twist this thing back onto the Civic. But one little trick is put the castle nut backwards onto the stud and then just go ahead and whack it like that, and she's loose. Outer tie rod is now on. Now the outer tie rod is completely blown out. I just didn't have enough time to buy one before this video, so I'm gonna go ahead and reinstall it, but we're gonna end up swapping this out anyways. We can now go ahead and get started on our knuckle job. Also, let me show you the little emblem. Nice, so that people can know that I paid for that ball joint. The same exact way that you took it off, just do whatever you're doing that, but backwards. But I'm gonna go ahead and start out by removing this lower control arm bolt that connects to the coilover so that we could lower this thing down, sit our new ball joint back in here, try to push our axle all the way through, put our axle nut back on, then try to put our top onto the upper control arm ball joint, and then go ahead and put our outer tie rod into its own hole. And that's basically it. Everything is officially installed. Pretty sure it's the same as like the rear lower control arms. This bolt, you want to do it under basically tension. I'm gonna have to loosen it up, jack up our knuckle up until we have right height, and then that's when you want to tighten this bolt down. If not, it's gonna wear down on your bushings. And the nut, as soon as I try to tighten it down, it's turning along with the stud. I'm gonna have to buy new outer tie rods in order to properly install these bad boys, but we'll do that soon. Now I'm gonna go ahead and install the brake. Voila, got our knuckle completely installed. Brakes are on, upper bushing is on. I don't know how I feel about this. This looks so weird. I don't know if I'm putting it in or putting it on properly. I hope so, and I hope that the bushing doesn't end up wearing faster like that. There's the bottom bushing, looking pretty nice, and we'll end up working on this later on, but perfect. What a relief. This car has been sitting like this for like 2-3 months, so finally seeing it like this, oh, it feels so nice. But even then, after this, freaking Civic has been getting vandalized. Civic is back on the ground. Honestly, I'm just happy for that, because it was 2-3 months of the car just being jacked up, looking just like, honestly, just like an abandoned car. I really want to get that car up and running again, so doing the suspension was basically the last thing I needed to do in order to feel comfortable driving around the car. We could probably go for a test drive soon, which I'm very excited about. I still have a lot of work to do. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this video right here. I hope to help you guys out, and obviously if you guys enjoyed it, drop a like, comment, subscribe, do all that great stuff. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I'm like at 932, which was, it grew like 30 subscribers this past 2-3 months without me doing anything, so that was cool. But that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one. God bless. Chale ganitas.